Hello science fans, and welcome to SHE-ensya's Corner. Here, we kick back, relax, answer some of your questions, and talk about science events, both great and mundane, in the life of your resident Filipino scientist. It's September 19, science fans. I am Shauna Camille Vincicruz Abeledo, your resident Filipino scientist, and welcome to episode 3 of SHE-ensya's Corner. So this week in quarantine, we have news from out of this world. High in the toxic atmosphere of the planet Venus, astronomers on Earth have discovered signs of what might be life. Using powerful telescopes, researchers from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology have detected phosphine gas in the atmosphere of Venus. After much analysis, the scientists now assert that the chemical can only come from something alive right now. Science fact! The chemical phosphine appears as a colorless gas with a disagreeable odor of fish or garlic. It is a flammable and explosive gas at room temperatures and may cause containers to rupture and rocket when exposed to heat. Phosphine is used as an insecticide for the fumigation of grains, animal feed, and leaf-stored tobacco. Short-term inhalation of phosphine may cause headaches, dizziness, drowsiness, burning substernal pain, nausea, vomiting, cough, labored breathing, chest tightness, pulmonary irritation, pulmonary edema, and tremors in humans. Convulsions can also ensue even after apparent recovery. Considering all that, why is the presence of phosphine equal to life? Even though phosphine is largely manufactured by humans, it is also a natural byproduct of life. Phosphine can be found in swamps and marshlands, where it's thought to be produced by microbes. Phosphine can also be found in the guts of animals or in the poop they leave behind. One of the earliest convincing demonstration of the prevalence of biological phosphine production was given in 1988 by Devay et al. Examining the gases from a sewage treatment plant, they found that 9 to 20% of the phosphorus entering the system was eventually converted into phosphine. These observations were eventually confirmed using bacterial enrichments. Please rest assured that the experiments used to confirm the biological production of phosphine was performed with the proper protocols and replication. Unlike some of the experiments that are currently ongoing using a freshwater system and a freshwater species to check the negative effects of a certain chemical to a highly acidic saltwater environment.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
But now back to phosphine. So given all that, we actually have conclusive evidence linking phosphine as an exclusive chemical associated with life on Earth, raising the possibility that microbes are actually present in the Venusian clouds. Although dwarfed in comparison by the potential discovery of life in Venus, our research team also published a new paper recently. The paper is about how we were able to detect a morphometric ratio in the shell of a young mangrove crab or alimango that can be used to identify one species, and how fishermen reacted to it as we visited different places in Luzon. Science fact! Morphometrics refers to the study of shape variation of organs or organisms and its connection with other variables. Morphometrics involves the use of a lot of measurements in order to characterize particular species groups or even varieties, maybe even populations, and separate one type from another. In the case of our juvenile or baby alimango, we made use of 9 measurements and transformed them into 11 ratios. We made use of multivariate statistics to check if the ratios that we have could cluster our samples into unique species groups. We specifically made use of a technique called principal component analysis. Principal component analysis, or PCA, is a technique for reducing the dimensionality of big datasets so that they would be easier to interpret. Try to imagine it like this. Since we had 11 ratios, we can use it to actually plot each of our data points in an 11-dimension space. Of course, that would be extremely difficult and will also be a nightmare to interpret. What PCA does is it condenses all of these 11 ratios into a smaller set of variables that we can then use to plot in an XY graph. PCA makes large datasets easier to interpret while it minimizes information loss by creating new uncorrelated variables representing the high degree of variability and ratios of all the datasets we put in. Through this, we were able to see that the morphometric ratio representing the different heights of the crown of the crab was actually useful in identifying Sela olivacea, even at very young stages. We then made use of the DNA of the crabs to verify if this species identification method is correct. The molecular method that we used is called restriction fragment length polymorphism. Restriction enzymes are special proteins that cut DNA with specific sequences, and thus would result to different sized DNA fragments unique to a species group. We can then visualize the different sized fragments representing different species using a technique called agarose gel electrophoresis. If you want to learn more about these molecular methods, please watch our video called How We Use DNA for Practical Purposes. We'll put a link at the end of this video and also at the description box below. So going back to the crabs, Sela olivacea, which is locally known as pulahan in the Philippines, is vulnerable to predation compared to the two other species because of its smaller size. So, if you mix Sela olivacea with the two bigger species in one fish pond, it could actually end up just being eaten by the two other species. But Sela olivacea has been of interest to growers lately because of its huge potential for soft shell farming. And soft shell crabs are valued at least 3 times more compared to the hard shell versions. We were able to deploy this morphometric technique across 4 regions in Luzon, together with a free mobile application for species identification in juvenile mangrove crabs called Crabifier that our team also developed. We did this in order to get the perspectives from stakeholders of the local mangrove crab industry. During our consultations, we were able to receive positive responses that we are now incorporating in our current research. And also, we were able to collect records of traditional practices for species identification in juvenile mangrove crabs. If you're interested in this study and would like to have a copy of the publication, please don't hesitate to email me so that I can send you a copy of the publication. Now, this week on the Why series, we tried to answer the age-old question of bakit nga ba masarap ang bawal? Or, why is the forbidden so seductive? This was from a suggestion of Dr. Mel Garcia of the La Salle Food and Water Institute. We have Tantalus stealing ambrosia and nectar from the gods, leading him to be cursed to stand in a pool of water, but never able to drink from it and quench his insatiable thirst, as it drains whenever he bends down to drink. We have Eve, who snuck a bite of the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil that led to her banishment from the Garden of Eden. And then there's me, with my love of the forbidden pancit canton, cursing me to a life of losartan and amlodipine. Which begs the question, why do we desire the forbidden? Making and watching that video triggered a lot of food cravings. And that's why I decided to add a trigger warning to the description of the video. But it also led to a lot of people asking me, why does eating a lot of Lucky Me pancit canton lead to hypertension? Science fact! Blood pressure is the force that a person's blood exerts against the walls of their blood vessels. Hypertension is when blood pressure is too high. This can lead to severe health complications and increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, and sometimes even death. One serving of Lucky Me pancit canton contains 320 milligrams of sodium, which is more than 10% of the recommended daily allowance for the substance. So considering that we don't just eat one serving whenever we eat pancit canton, and also the amount of salt present in the other food items we eat during the day, it's very easy to exceed the daily allowance. High salt consumption leads to hypertension through your kidney. Eating too much salt can make it harder for your kidneys to remove fluid, which builds up in your system and increases your blood pressure. It's okay to enjoy this forbidden treat every once in a while, especially if you drink a lot of water whenever you eat it. But remember, regular consumption of your food cravings can lead to lesser numbers of dopamine receptors in your brain, which can then in turn make you want to crave more food in order to feel good. So try to control your food cravings as much as you can. And this week in the What Is It Like series, we featured 3 sheroes who are representing the Philippines in universities and laboratories all over the globe.
Hi, I'm Maria Victoria Faith Garcia, and I am a former master's student in the biology department of De La Salle University under the advisorship of Dr. Maria Carmen Ablan Lagman in the Practical Genomics Laboratory. Nice to meet you. Pangkapsumeda.
Hello, science fans! I am Melissa, a graduate of MS in Microbiology and currently pursuing my PhD degree in Molecular Biology as a scholar of the Chinese Academy of Sciences and the World Academy of Sciences here in China. For my research, I specifically study the diversity, ecology, and interaction of microorganisms associated with plants and soil.
Hello science fans, my name is Gwen Demayas. I am a pre-med student at the University of Washington and I am intending to major in medical laboratory science with a minor in dance.
I am personally amazed at the courage of our sheroes for continuing their education outside the Philippines even in the face of a global pandemic. But as Mafi mentioned in that episode, I truly believe that the rewards of their current venture will greatly outweigh their current sacrifices. And with that, we move on to Q&A. So I've received questions about how I edit my videos. So let me introduce my editing rig. I actually just make use of iMovies, a free software that comes with my computer. Most of the edits I need are simple, and using the application together with the footage that I get from my phone, it's actually a very straightforward process. But whenever I need to put in animations, I try to make my own using the application Toonly. Another question that always seems to pop up, especially in Instagram, is if I'm single. And though I'm flattered, I would like to inform everyone that I'm happily married for almost 5 years now to a man I've been with for almost 15 years. It's actually one of the reasons I got enough courage to do SHE-ensya. And that's it for SHE-ensya's Corner for this week. We'll be taking a short production break, but we'll be back by October 5 with new videos in the Y series, the What's It Like series, and also SHE-ensya's Corner. So if you have any suggestions for future episodes, now is the time to send us messages so that we can incorporate your ideas during our production planning. You can send us your comments and suggestions through any of our social media accounts, such as Facebook or Instagram. You can also drop by our website at www.she-ensya.com. You can also send me a message at my personal Instagram account at chona.abeledo. And you can give me a follow at the same time. And that's it! I hope you were able to learn something from our episode of SHE-ensya's Corner today. If you did, I hope you can give this video a thumbs up and also subscribe to our channel. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please don't hesitate to message me, your resident Filipina scientist, in the comments section below. Thank you very much, and see you on a clover!